You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode 221. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. All right, everybody, I'm here with a very special guest today. I have been looking forward to this, and I know you're going to love this episode. I am joined by the one and only Jen Funk, who is certified life and relationship coach, graduate of Thriving Coach Academy, and she's going to share a bit about her coaching business with you today. So Jen, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Frank. It's great to be here with you.
I was actually raving about you earlier today. I was talking with a potential student and they were like, show us some websites of some of your graduates, and automatically your name came to mind. And she was like, ooh, okay, this coach has got a lot of cool things going on. And I was scrolling through and I saw you got a podcast coming, and I know you have other great things that you're already sharing. So I've been looking forward to really diving in since you've graduated the academy to see what you've been up to.
Well, thanks so much. I feel like it's been a lot. It's been a lot, but it's been really exciting.
All right. And you are you've worked with paying clients already. Right now, your coaching business is part-time, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And we will make sure at the end of the episode, Jen is going to talk about, she's got some cool resources as well that she's willing to share with all of us. So that way, if you or someone you know are interested, you can check out Jen's stuff, and we'll go over all of that at the end of the episode. Okay. So tell us about how you got into the coaching niche that you're in. I know that you help people looking to create stronger, more fulfilled relationships. You bring some personal expertise into this as well. And you work primarily or only with women?
So right now I'm working only with women,
Only with
but
women. Okay.
I am looking to probably shift that in 2026, where I'll start
Ooh,
working with couples. So that's
perfect.
exciting and coming up. But yeah, right now I focus on women. And, my story is I have been married for almost 24 years this year. We have an anniversary coming up. And while we are healthy and happy and super connected today, it was not always that way.
Mm.
So, way back 24 years ago, when my husband Casey and I got married, we both came from divorced parents. My parents, my mom actually then married a second time. And so I lived through a second divorce as a teenager, and Casey's parents were divorced. So we came together with a really high level of commitment. We did not want the same experience for ourselves, but we had like a low level of skills.
Mm.
So it's where our commitment was high, but the skill level was low. And we really, really struggled, especially early in our marriage. We did get some therapy, super helpful. So I'm a big fan of therapy, but what we found is it created a lot of awareness, and there wasn't really a lot of action to create change. So we would fight about the same things and never sort of get past it. Because, having awareness of why you think the things you think is one thing, but if it isn't coupled by some sort of action, then again, nothing changes. So
Right.
that's kind of where we were. We ended up getting some coaching, and I was so like jazzed about this idea of actually having real specific strategies and tools that you can use and implement in your relationship
Yes.
to actually make it better, and not just be aware of these things and the connections to family of origin and that kind of thing. Again, all helpful, but just didn't create a tremendous amount of change for us. So
Mm.
that, my desire to have a, rock star marriage that's solid, that lasts forever, and my passion for helping other women do the same is why this was a really natural, exciting niche for me to go after.
Incredible. That is super inspiring. I mean, you know a lot about the rule book, which is what we teach our students about in TCA, these invisible rules and shoulds and expectations that we have in our lives. And I come from divorced parents as well, and it definitely impacted my rules about relationships and my belief in my ability to navigate relationship stuff. And I love how you worded it, that you and your partner, Casey, You were both committed, just you didn't have the skills, but you were eager to figure
Exactly.
out. Yeah, that's so powerfully said. Because for myself, and I know a lot of other people, I just think, oh, well, I don't know how relationships work, or I came from this environment, so am I capable of like creating a different type of environment? Um,
Yeah, we didn't have the good modeling, there
exactly.
wasn't any
Yeah.
example to be like, oh, that's how you do it.
Which makes your story even more special because you've like turned that around and kept something going for 24 years and counting. Congratulations. That is an
Thank
amazing.
you. Thank you.
So,
Appreciate that.
so tell us when you are attracting your clients and people might be interested in working with you, what are the typical signs that you look for that would indicate someone would benefit from working with you? What are those signs?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that, there's some things that anyone that is not in the relationship that they want to be in, whether that means they're in crisis or whether that means they're just not as happy as they want to be. So I think I
Mm,
would say the signs would be if you feel like you're living as roommates, you're like ships in the night, or how people sort of
yes.
describe this. It's, there's no spark anymore. There's limited emotional connection. There's
Right.
probably a lack of physical intimacy as well.
Mm,
That's usually, you're all about logistics and not about real connection and real
mhm.
partnership. That's a big one. I would also say if you have the same arguments happening over and over again, you just
Yeah.
cannot get past the you're in this cycle where you just keep arguing about the same thing and cannot get past it and can't get resolution for those
Mm,
like yuck feelings of anger and resentment. You're kind of stuck. That's another sign. Maybe one or the other partner has withdrawn. If there's an opportunity to spend time together, they are choosing to spend time alone, or going out
mm,
with friends more often is something. Granted, that's all very healthy. Those are
yeah.
healthy things to do, spending time alone or with friends. But when
Right.
that becomes the dominant pattern,
Mm,
that could be a sign
okay.
there. And I think also just feeling hopeless and wondering, did I even marry the right person?
Mm,
Is it even worth it for us to stay together? Is this ever going to get better? So those feelings of hopeless and just wondering if improvement's even possible.
got it. Yeah. Big signs. I can imagine people listening either have some of those signs or maybe know people that have some of those signs.
Yeah,
And hard to navigate on your own. So this is why working with a coach like Jen or any type of relationship coach is key, right? To be able to know how do you address this because it doesn't have to be this way.
for sure.
So tell us when, as I mentioned earlier, we look for what are those rules, those one sentence beliefs that typically hold back our clients. Let's go into what is a common rule that you often hear from your clients and what's actually true.
Okay, that's a good question. I think probably the main one is just believing things will work themselves out over time. So
Mm,
we make excuses. We say, oh, it's just a phase, or, well, this is just a season of life, or he's just really busy at work and this is going to change and we'll connect once the kids are off to college, or
yes.
and what's actually true is no. When there's no specific action taken to create change, that disconnect just grows wider and wider. It
Yep.
doesn't, avoiding issues leads to further disconnection. It doesn't, you need intentional change,
Mm,
intentional action to create change.
wow.
So that's a big
Yes.
one.
Yeah. And um and I imagine the longer that goes on, the harder it is to start like repairing and moving things forward. Would you say so as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. The
Mm,
longer it goes on, the longer the disconnection, the harder it is to repair and find your way back to each other.
it's a big one. Okay. Tell us another common rule you often hear.
I think another one, again, I specifically work with women right now, and people sometimes think, no, 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 my partner is the one that needs to change. Or,
Yes.
well, what would be, certainly not me, of course, it's got to be my partner, but also, well, I'm not going to do all the work. Like I'm not going to get coaching by myself. If my partner isn't here, then what good is it?
Mm,
And the truth is, one person can create change in a relationship. Even a small shift in someone's typical reaction can produce a different reaction in the partner. So when one person shows up differently, it does influence the other and can change the dynamic in the whole relationship.
Yes, powerful stuff. Good. Okay, so the two that I was hearing, those two rules. One is if you're just justifying and rationalizing, like, oh, it's just a phase, it'll get better over time, when really, no, you have to address it head on. You've got to get support and start to look at these issues that are happening before they get any worse. And the other one was just thinking, oh, it's their problem, not mine. So they have to fix their stuff, but I'm all good, which is,
Totally.
classic when we hear that happen. And coaching's often we hold up that mirror and realize with our clients, oh, okay, there's work I can do. And by me doing my work, it could transform the relationship.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So what stance do you really take when it comes to relationships in general and love? Because there's other relationship coaches out there, but I want to know more about what does Jen believe and what does Jen think, even if it's something that goes against the grain.
Yeah, I think I would say that um, love isn't enough.
Mm,
You hear that a lot. Oh, well, if you love each other enough, it'll all work out. And it's love isn't enough. Like you have to have relationship skills. And again, like we said, coming from divorced parents, if that's not modeled, where are you learning it from?
mm,
So, to me, again, I lived this. Casey and I were very in love, but we had tons and tons of problems because we did not have the skills
yeah.
to work through them in a way that had both of us feeling validated and loved and respected in all the ways you want to feel in a relationship. So I would say that love's not enough. You absolutely need some skills.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make it work.
And I've heard that so often. All you need is love. Just love them more. Know their love language or whatever that is. But I love what you're saying, which is that that's not going to be the end all be all. It might be part of it, but you've got to have the skills. Okay, what else is a commonly maybe like a cliche or trope that we hear about relationships, about our partners and love, that you think is just BS? Tell us.
I think the classic, well, my if my partner would do this and that, or if my partner would stop doing
Yeah.
this, just putting blame on the other person. It's not
Mm.
the problems in a relationship are not about one person or the other. It's about the patterns. It's about the
Mm.
patterns that you create, the dynamic that exists. Right? How are you resolving conflict? Conflict's inevitable. It's going to come up. So it's your pattern for resolving it. It isn't, oh, he this, she this.
Yes.
And a lot of
Okay.
times we get into this blame game where it's someone else's fault instead of saying, no, we're in this crazy dynamic. This is how we argue. This is not
Mm.
productive. We don't come out on the other end how we want to. How do we
Yes.
address the pattern? Again, this goes back to you got to learn some skills.
Yeah.
Kind of goes back to that.
I
Oh, and
love
another
how,
one is
yes.
people, sorry, I didn't mean to cut. I was just going to say
Sure.
another one is the whole like people think they have to put the children should come first in a marriage. I've seen this a
Ooh.
lot on social media,
Yeah.
right? I firmly stand against that unless it's a second marriage, and then that's a little bit different. But if it's the original parents with the kids, you are modeling making that a priority. Like I want my kids to see, I have three kids and we want them to see us working at it.
Yes.
We want to be a role model for a good working relationship. So our kids are going to go out into the world, find partners that also are committed to working on things and kind of normalize the fact that getting help is is healthy. It's healthy. It's
It is.
fantastic. It's really how you have a successful relationship.
That's huge. Yeah. Like, I love how you're saying it. Like, you and your partner, you are the foundation. So you've got to prioritize yourself because that makes you better parents instead of just thinking you put your children first and then like the marriage is just secondary. And I love what you said. It's not the person, it's the pattern. It's not about whose fault is it or who do we blame or who caused this. It's what's the pattern? We're both in the relationship. What's the pattern that has to shift? That is such a great distinction. I'm stealing that. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
All right. So, um, I know that there was a story you also wanted to share, a personal story. Um, and I wanted you to, share that with us about, the difference between a me versus you argument versus an us versus the problem argument. So tell us a little bit more about what you wanted to share here.
Yeah, so a lot of times people will get, couples will get into this dynamic where the setup is me versus you.
Mm,
Or, so it's one person against the other person. And you're arguing, but because the dynamic has you on different sides, you're never both getting to the goal. So
mm,
it's this shift where you're both coming together as a team, as a partnership, and addressing, seeing what the problem is as something outside of you. And how are
mm,
you going to come together and solve that problem? So, my example, for instance, I was a stay-at-home mom for many years. My husband traveled quite a bit. That was an arrangement that worked very well for us. But at one point, I had three children under 5 years old. My husband and I are very clean and organized people. So the craziness of three young children under five had, there's toys and
hmm
things everywhere. And while I would have aspired to have the house beautifully organized and clean by the time he came home, it just really wasn't possible.
mm,
Now, that produced many, many conflicts because he was angry at me that I didn't have the house fairly clean when he got home.
mm.
I'm mad at him for not understanding this is just about impossible. I felt like
Yeah,
it should be good enough that the children were alive, and
right.
we just would be on opposite sides of it instead of saying, "Hey, what's the actual problem?" And the actual problem
Mm,
is the house isn't clean. I'm not happy that the house isn't clean. He's not happy that the house isn't clean. So how do we come together and figure out how we're going to solve the problem
mm,
of getting the house clean? It isn't him and me. It's us tackling our problem of how to clean the house. Now, at the
mm.
time, we fortunately had the resources that for us the solution was we were hiring some additional help and some additional support. So once that was done and we came up with a different creative solution, then we did not argue about that anymore. That
Mm.
sort of resolved it because we were like, okay, we are going to tackle this issue together, and it took the me versus him part away, which was really important for us. So again, it's just having that shift in, okay, hey, we want the same thing and here we are arguing.
Yeah.
So identify the goal, come together as a team and figure out how you're going to tackle the problem together.
These calls, these particular episodes on the podcast are so special because of moments like this, because I experience a lot of you in the program as students where I get to share my stories and I share, the tools I created and help you with the business strategies. But it's so cool to hear you, Jen, sharing and inspiring me and inspiring our listeners because what you said, I think, is a game changer for a lot of relationships this and just to echo it back this whole idea instead of it's me versus you like who's to blame it's we're in this together like you describe it as the us versus this problem like we're both over here we're on the same team and let's look at this problem as not something that has to cast blame on one of us but it's just us as a team addressing the problem it's like so simply put yet so deeply powerful so love that thank you for sharing that story.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I wonder now, I can imagine a lot of our listeners want to know a little bit about what is it like working with Jen Funk. So tell us briefly, what would you describe your coaching style to be like?
I would describe myself as both a cheerleader and a challenger.
Mm,
So I really, again, I've been in a relationship for a very long time. I know how difficult it can be.
yep.
And I also know the rewards on the other end when you really stick with it, you work at it. So when I have a client, I am their biggest cheerleader. I want that for them so much. Um, and I want them to have the relationship that they want to
Mm,
get. But I am not shy when it comes to asking some challenging questions if I think there's an opportunity for growth there,
yes.
or an openness to a new perspective that I
Mm.
think would be important. So I'm certainly willing to dig in there and ask the hard questions, and I do think that's important. But I really root for my clients and I care deeply about them.
Beautiful. Good. All right. So just to go into your framework you have for coaching, and
Hmm.
I know that you offer some one-on-one, you have group, and you also have a course that you're going to be launching very soon, a relationship course. So
Hmm.
tell us about like what's your overall, I know you have a three-step coaching framework, and I'd love to know more about it.
Yeah, so the program is kind of called Relationship Refocus, and I
Okay.
think that's an accurate name because a lot of times what happens is we take our focus off of the relationship and it just sort of
Yes.
plugs along. And this is being very intentional. Let's refocus here. Let's
Yes.
really get some work done. So the three steps to that are to reclaim, rebuild, and redesign. And what I mean by that is right out of the gate with my clients, we're going to reclaim your role in the relationship,
Okay.
identifying like what's in your control, your
Mm.
mindset, your behaviors, communication patterns. So instead of waiting for your partner to change, you're going to learn how to create
Mm.
small shifts on your own
Very
and in
good.
your own behavior that will lead to a change in the dynamics. So that's step one.
Very
Step two, what we will do is come up with, first of all, we'll address the emotional disconnection in the relationship because that's what we want to rebuild. And
good.
we'll do that through some practical strategies that restore trust and safety and intimacy, and some real live action tools to get
Excellent.
that done. And then the third thing is redesigning the dynamic. You
Mm.
know, what do you want this relationship to be, to look like, to feel like? And create new sustainable ways of relating with each other. So, navigating conflict without spiraling and communicating your needs clearly, working together as a team, like we were just talking about, finding the us, always
Yeah.
coming back to the us.
Beautiful. Very good. Okay. And you've already been working with paying clients for a while now and having great results. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about some of the results your clients are having.
So the clients that I've worked with are it's really really awesome to um, hear where they are at the beginning of a bundle of sessions and then see where they are at the end and through the process. It's been really awesome. But my clients are reporting significant improvement in the amount of quality time that they're spending with their partner, the
Very
amount
good.
of daily positive interactions that they're having,
Mm.
significant improvement in their ability to resolve conflict and stay calm and clear and confident during conversations that are really difficult.
Nice.
And also just significant improvement in their overall self-awareness, their
Mm.
own clarity on things, their own peace of mind around the relationship. So that's been the most rewarding thing is to feel like I'm having an impact on people and they are getting such great results from it.
Fantastic. Very good. Okay. So I know that you've got some gifts for any listeners that might want to check you out and might want to maybe get some access to some of the cool things you have out there, learn more about your coaching. So your website is genfunkcoaching.com. I will put the link in the show notes so it's easy to access that.
Thank you.
And you've got an ebook, The Five Simple Habits to Improve Your Relationship Today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so these are habits that I can change things on day one.
Mm.
And I use them with my husband, Casey. These are super impactful. You can access them by going to the website. There's a place to just enter your email and download it.
Perfect.
But basically, it's three daily habits and two weekly habits.
Oh,
And
okay.
again, like physical contact and words of appreciation. So, yes, go to the website, download it. And yeah, I hope they help. They certainly helped us and lots of other people.
Good. And that's totally free. So, just
Absolutely.
no brainer to get that, everybody. And also, you do
Yes.
share a weekly newsletter as well.
I do, yes. And if you go to my website, that should pop up right away. So every week I write a newsletter on lots of different topics. Let's see, last week it was unmet expectations on vacation, for instance, and establishing independence versus interdependence in a relationship. So just lots of different um, tips and encouragement and support and hopefully some inspiration right into your email box each week. So yes, totally free. Just go to genfunkcoaching.com and you can sign right up.
Perfect. And I know that I kind of teased it in the beginning, but you are launching a podcast soon, and I imagine your email list will be the first to know when it's live. Is that right?
For sure, yes. It's going
Okay.
to be called Relating with Jen Funk, and it's in process. And I believe I will probably launch it on YouTube as well. So stay tuned. But yes, my email list will be the first to know. So sign up.
All right, good. Get all the goodies at genfunkcoaching.com. Jen, I just want to thank you so much. It just was such a joy to have you in the academy, and you came to our retreat as well. We got to meet in person and hug and, laugh and cry and spend a nice weekend together with some other coaches. And I am so excited at where things are going with you. I'm happy, but I'm not surprised at honestly all the success that's been opening up for you. And I know it's just the beginning. So thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your expertise and your coaching journey with our listeners today.
Well, you're very welcome. And it was a pleasure to be here. Always is to spend time with you, but also just so grateful for my experience in TCA and all that I learned, which was a lot from skills to confidence to how to put this whole thing together. So, yeah, it's just been, and like I said, it's been an amazing ride. And I'm very grateful to you for both that and for having me on today.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in, and be sure to check out those resources in the show notes. Remember to subscribe to the podcast so you get updates whenever we release new episodes. And with that, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coaches' secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.